Have you ever sat in a room full of people and still felt alone? Have you ever shared your dreams with someone only to feel a strange emptiness after their reaction? This is the world we live in, where not everyone who smiles at you wants the best for you. Some are clapping, yes, but only loud enough to hide the sound of your downfall. And so the question arises, who is sincere? Not everyone who walks beside you walks with you. The truth is, sincerity reveals itself, not in the moments of comfort, but in the storms of your life. Watch who stays when everything falls apart. Watch who listens when you're not at your best. Watch who defends you in rooms you're not even in. People reveal themselves in the silence, not through their words, but through their absence or their presence. Sincerity is not loud. It doesn't seek recognition. It doesn't post about loyalty. It just is. A sincere colleague won't compete with your success. They'll help build it. They don't feel small when you shine. Instead, they see your light and hand you the tools to shine brighter. A sincere family member won't drain you emotionally. They'll correct you with love, not humiliate you. They will sit with you in your confusion, not because they have the answers, but because they care enough not to leave you in the dark alone. So how do you test sincerity? You don't test people with words. You test them with time, with silence, with boundaries. Stop over-explaining. Step back. Speak less. Observe. Give them the space to show who they really are without your guidance. And you will be shocked at how quickly people show you their true face. Silence is a mirror. It reflects truth. Distance is a filter. It removes noise. And boundaries, they reveal intentions. You don't need to accuse anyone. Just pause. The ones who truly love and respect you won't vanish when you stop giving. They will show up, quietly, but consistently. Let me tell you something, this might hurt, but it will set you free. Some of the people closest to you are only there because of what you give. They like your light, but not you. They enjoy your warmth, but they'd never light a fire for you. And when you finally stop feeding them, you'll see how hungry they were for what you offered, but never for you. It's not betrayal that breaks us. It's the illusion we built about people. And yet, knowing who is sincere is not about building walls. It's about building wisdom. It's about learning to value quiet loyalty over loud praise. It's about choosing those who show up over those who speak beautifully. Let your peace be the judge. Pay attention to who gives you peace and who disturbs it. Because in the end, sincerity is a feeling. You don't need to prove it. You just need to feel it. Broken heart, and if you've been hurt by fake love, by two-faced support or hidden jealousy, I want you to know you're not alone. This space is for you. This voice is for you. And every video I create is to help you rise above the noise, walk with dignity, and choose the peace you deserve. If this message touched something deep inside you, then don't just scroll. Walk with me. Watch the next video. Subscribe. Because we're building more than content here, we're building a space for the unseen, the unheard, the real ones. Like you. You're not weak for caring. You're not foolish for trusting. But now it's time to grow. And part of growth is knowing who deserves your energy and who only pretended to. So walk forward with clearer eyes, sharper instincts, and a heart that loves, but no longer allows itself to be used. This is your time. And sincerity will find its way back to you. Sincerity reveals itself in silence, time, and distance. These are not just abstract concepts. They are tools of discernment, quiet detectors of truth in human behavior. Most people reveal their best selves when you're looking, when the spotlight is on, when there is something to gain. But real character, real sincerity, shows itself when there is no audience, no benefit, and no need to pretend. Silence has a way of unsettling the insincere. When you stop speaking, when you stop feeding conversations with effort and energy, observe who fills the space. The sincere don't need your words to stay connected. They are present even when you are quiet. They reach out not because they need something, but because they genuinely care. The insincere, however, often fade when they no longer have your energy to feed on. Your silence starves their performance. Time is another truth teller. It tests consistency. Anyone can be kind for a day, supportive for a week, or loyal in a season. But watch people over time, months, even years. Sincerity does not waver with the wind. It's stable, grounded, and patient. Time reveals whether someone's concern was rooted in real care or convenience. The ones who are there only when it's easy will eventually step away when it becomes hard. Time reveals if love was conditional. It shows if support was genuine. If someone's presence in your life depends on what you can offer, time will pull away the mask. Distance too tells a story. Take a step back, not out of bitterness but clarity. Pull your energy inward. Don't answer immediately. Don't always be available. When you create distance, the sincere make an effort to bridge it. They won't let you drift too far. They reach out, they check in, they ask how you are without prompting. Their care does not require reminders. But the ones who disappear with your absence were never really with you. They were there for the version of you that served them. Distance doesn't push people away. It reveals who is already gone. When you stop chasing, when you stop giving explanations, when you simply observe, the truth comes to the surface. Sincerity is not shaken by the absence of attention. It doesn't demand a spotlight or applause. It is quiet but strong. It doesn't panic when you're unavailable because it was never relying on what you could provide. It was rooted in who you are. Sometimes you'll find that the people you thought would stay disappear the moment things are no longer convenient. They were drawn to your light, not your soul. But the sincere remain not out of obligation, but because of connection. They don't need a reason. They just stay. They stand by you in your silence, through the seasons, across the distances. Testing sincerity doesn't mean setting traps. It means stepping back and letting people show you who they are without the influence of your effort. You learn to pause, to listen, to allow space. You stop filling the silence. You stop forcing relationships. You let go of constant outreach. And then you observe who misses you, who reaches out without being asked, who keeps showing up, not for your success, but for your well-being. This is not about becoming cold or distant. It's about becoming aware. It's about using silence as a filter, time as a gauge, and distance as a mirror. It's not revenge or resentment. It's self-respect. You deserve to be surrounded by people who are there when you're quiet, when you have nothing to give, when you've stepped away. People who choose you, not your energy. People who respond to your soul, not just your service. The world is full of noise, full of words, full of promises. But the truth is often silent. It waits to be discovered, not announced. You don't need to ask who's sincere, just watch. Create moments of stillness, stretches of time, small spaces of distance. The truth will rise on its own. The ones meant to stay will not need a reason to do so. True loyalty is shown through actions, not words. Words are easy. They cost nothing and can be beautifully arranged to sound convincing, but actions carry weight. They cannot be faked over time. They either align with what was said or expose what was hidden. People can say they love you, they support you, they'll always be there. But it's how they behave when it's inconvenient, when no one is watching, that tells the real story. Loyalty is quiet. It's not a performance. It doesn't need an audience to do what is right. It doesn't wait for appreciation or applause. It is consistent, even when unnoticed. Words can promise the world, but actions reveal how much of it someone is truly willing to give. A loyal person doesn't need to be reminded of your value. They already see it. They don't need to be begged to stay. They stay because they want to, not because they have to. Watch closely during your difficult moments. In times of success, everyone is smiling, congratulating, celebrating with you. But when you're struggling, when you have nothing to offer, when you're misunderstood or misrepresented, that's when the truth becomes visible. Some will vanish without a trace. Some will stand silently on the sidelines. But a few, the rare few, will move closer. Not because they agree with everything, but because they care more about you than your mistakes. Loyalty doesn't mean blind agreement. It means standing by someone even when things get complicated. It means being there not only when it benefits you, but especially when it doesn't. People who are truly loyal will defend you behind closed doors. They won't allow others to speak against you in your absence. They won't stay silent when your name is being damaged. Their protection is not loud, but it is real. It happens when you're not even there to witness it. Look at how people behave when you are not in the room. That is where loyalty is tested. That is where the mask drops. It's easy to show love to someone face to face. It's easy to pretend to care when the person is watching. But the truth is revealed in the shadows, in the places where there is no reward for kindness, no recognition for support. A person who constantly speaks of loyalty but vanishes when things are tough is not loyal. They're attached. They're connected to you as long as it's easy. But when your storm arrives, they seek shelter elsewhere. Actions never lie. Someone who never checks on you, who doesn't show up when you need them, but posts words of support online, they are not loyal. They are performing. Real loyalty is inconvenient. It demands effort. It means showing up when it's hard. It means staying when leaving would be easier. It's choosing to care, even when no one asks you to. And it's always quiet. The people who talk the most about how loyal they are often aren't. They need to declare it because they lack the actions to prove it. But those who actually live it rarely need to say it. Their presence says everything. You'll recognize loyalty in the smallest moments. In the person who checks in when you're quiet. In the one who defends your name without being told. In the friend who corrects you gently rather than mocking you publicly. In the colleague who helps you improve instead of waiting for you to fail. Loyalty is in the effort people make when they have nothing to gain. When you're down, broken, or lost. Who sits with you then? That's your answer. Do not be fooled by charming words. They may feel good, but they don't last. What lasts is the way people treat you when you are at your lowest. That's when loyalty is not just tested, it is proven. You won't have to ask. You won't have to beg. Loyalty moves on its own. It stands beside you without being called. It shows up when the room gets cold. You don't need many loyal people in your life. Just a few. Even one. Because one loyal soul is worth more than 100 empty promises. And once you see it clearly, once someone proves it with their actions, you will never again be confused by sweet words that carry no substance. Actions will speak, and they will speak the truth. Boundaries expose intentions without confrontation. You don't need to argue, explain, or fight to see someone's true nature. Just set a boundary. Say no. Delay your response. Become less available. Reduce what you give. The moment you do, the shift begins. Those who were only around for what they could take will show their discomfort quickly. Their patience fades. Their tone changes. Suddenly, your value in their eyes drops, not because you did anything wrong, but because you stopped giving them unlimited access. A boundary is not a punishment. It's a measure of self-respect. It is a quiet way of saying, "This is where I end and where you begin." It is not designed to hurt others. It is designed to protect your peace. When you put up a boundary, sincere people understand it. They respect it. They may ask questions, but they do not take offense. They don't guilt-trip you or accuse you of being selfish. Instead, they support your decision to guard your time, energy, and emotional well-being. But the ones who benefited from your lack of boundaries, the ones who used your kindness as a convenience, will feel threatened. Suddenly, you're not easy to reach. You're not always available to solve their problems. You're no longer offering unlimited emotional labor. And in that space, their real intention rises. Whether they were truly there for you or just for what you provided, the boundary makes it clear. They either adjust with grace, or they retreat with resentment. Testing someone doesn't require a trap or a dramatic scenario. Just start protecting your energy. When you stop initiating, stop overextending, stop saying yes to everything, the silence will reveal everything. Who checks in? Who continues to support you when they have nothing to gain? Who gets upset simply because you decided to take care of yourself? These are the questions that boundaries answer without you ever needing to ask them out loud. You begin to notice how some people only reach out when they need something. When your boundary interrupts that pattern, they fall away. Their warmth fades. Their interest disappears. And that's not a loss. It's a revelation. They weren't attached to you. They were attached to your usefulness. And the moment you became less useful to them, they became less present for you. Boundaries are not walls. They are filters. They don't isolate you, they clarify your relationships. They allow you to see who values you as a person, not as a resource. The people who are meant to stay in your life will not be threatened by your growth. They will not push back when you protect your time. They will not disappear when you stop pouring endlessly into them. Some will call you distant. Some will label you cold. But those are just the voices of those who benefited from your lack of limits. Because when you finally say, "I cannot carry this for you anymore," some people will act like you never cared at all. They forget all the times you were there, all the times you said yes, all the sacrifices you made. Why? Because your value to them was conditional. Conditional on your availability, your silence, your giving. Boundaries remove confusion. They don't create new problems. They reveal old ones that were hidden by your constant efforts to maintain peace. When you stop absorbing the discomfort of others just to keep the connection alive, you see the truth. Was the connection ever real, or was it simply your effort keeping it together? You can tell who's sincere not by how they act when everything is easy, but by how they respond when you ask for space. When you say, "I need time, I need rest, I can't do this anymore," watch their reaction. If they guilt you, shame you, or punish you with silence, they were never truly there for you. But if they listen, if they understand, if they stay close without crossing your line, that is sincerity. That is respect. It's often through the act of pulling back that you find out who was holding your hand and who was just holding on to your help. When you stop proving your worth, when you stop explaining your no, the ones who care for you as a whole person will remain. They won't just tolerate your boundaries, they'll appreciate them. Because to them, your well-being matters, not just your usefulness. Some stay for what you give, not for who you are. This is one of the hardest truths to accept, but one of the most liberating once understood. There are people in your life who seem supportive, loyal, and present, but only as long as you continue to provide something they want. It could be your time, your attention, your resources, your energy, or simply the comfort of being around someone who listens, understands, and cares. But remove what you give, even briefly, and you'll start to see the foundation of the relationship crumble. It's easy to assume that just because someone is always around, they care about you. But the reality is, presence can be strategic. Some people stay close because it benefits them. Your success feeds their image. Your generosity serves their needs. Your availability fills their emptiness. They like what you offer, not necessarily who you are beneath it all. This isn't always done with evil intent. Sometimes, people don't even realize they're doing it. They're drawn to your light, but they've never truly taken the time to understand the source of that light. They love what they receive, not who they're receiving it from. You start to recognize this pattern when you pause the giving. You stop reaching out first. You take a break from fixing everything. You stop saying yes out of guilt or habit. Suddenly, the energy shifts. Where there was warmth, there is now coldness. Where there was attention, there is now silence. And where there was affection, there is now distance. Not because you've done anything wrong, but because you stopped fueling the dynamic that kept them satisfied. It becomes clear in subtle ways. The messages become less frequent. The tone changes. The urgency they once had in checking on you disappears. They stop asking how you are unless it's followed by a request. Their interest is no longer in your well-being, but in what you can continue to do for theirs. And when you're no longer as useful, they start looking elsewhere. Not because you changed, but because their intention was never rooted in genuine connection. It was based on transaction. The most painful part is realizing how long you may have mistaken their presence for love. You replay conversations, shared moments, times when they seemed sincere. And perhaps in some ways they were. But sincerity that cannot survive without benefit is not sincerity. It's convenience. Love that requires constant output from you to remain alive is not love. It's dependency. When you remove the giving, you remove the mask, and what remains is either real or empty. This truth is hard to face, especially when it involves people you've trusted deeply. Friends, family, even romantic partners. You gave and gave, believing they loved you for you. And to find out that your giving was the glue holding the connection together can feel like betrayal. But it's not betrayal from them that hurts the most. It's the betrayal of your own belief. The realization that you poured yourself into people who only stayed for what they could collect. It's important to note that not everyone who benefits from your giving is using you. There are people who receive and still remain genuine, still care, still give back in their own ways. But the difference lies in how they respond when the giving stops. A sincere person appreciates your energy but does not depend on it to love you. They understand when you need rest. They stay close even when there's nothing in it for them. Their affection does not shrink with your silence. Their loyalty does not expire with your limitations. To truly see who is for you, stop overfunctioning. Let go of the role you've been playing. If you've always been the helper, the fixer, the listener, the provider, pause. Be still and watch. Who stays? Who checks in even when you offer nothing? Who values you not for what you can do, but simply because of who you are? That's how you find your people. This shift might reduce the number of people around you, but it will increase the quality of those who remain. It will hurt, but it will clarify. You will see who came for the light and who came for the lamp. One can be replaced. The other is irreplaceable. When you're no longer giving endlessly and people still choose to stay, that's when you'll know they weren't there just for what you gave. They were there for you. People reveal their sincerity most clearly when you are no longer useful to them. It is in the moments when you can no longer serve a purpose, when you are not convenient, when you are not giving or contributing, that their real character begins to show. As long as you are helpful, accommodating, and present, some people will appear kind, loyal, even affectionate. But remove your availability, withdraw your support, or simply go through a difficult phase, and suddenly the masks start to fall. This is the phase that hurts the most because it reveals the gap between who you thought they were and who they actually are. You begin to notice the silence that follows your withdrawal. The people who once called you daily are nowhere to be found. The friends who laughed with you, made promises, and leaned on you emotionally seem uninterested in your absence. You wonder if they ever cared at all, or if they were just playing a role while the benefits lasted. When people need you, when they depend on you for advice, emotional comfort, money, presence, or validation, they often keep up a connection that feels genuine. They will talk to you, spend time with you, say all the right things. But all of it may be driven not by genuine care, but by what they gain from being in your life. Once those gains disappear, once you are in a phase of need, of pain, of retreat, that's when their true priorities surface. A sincere person does not disappear when you have nothing to offer. Their presence isn't tied to your productivity or your emotional capacity. They are not there to use you, but to walk with you. Even when you fall silent, even when you are struggling, they check in. They don't need you to entertain them, support them, or fix anything. They just want to be near you because their care is real, not transactional. On the other hand, those who were merely attached to the role you played in their lives quickly lose interest when that role fades. If you've always been the one to listen, to help, to make sacrifices, and suddenly you can't anymore, watch how fast they detach. They don't ask why you've gone quiet. They don't reach out with concern. Instead, they replace you with someone else who can fulfill that same role. To them, it was never about you, it was about what you brought to their world. This is how people expose themselves. Not through arguments, not through dramatic exits, but through quiet absences. Through their inability to stand beside you when you stop serving a purpose. And this doesn't just happen with distant acquaintances. It can happen with close friends, with colleagues you once trusted, even with family members. Some people are deeply attached to what you provide for their comfort and identity. But once your presence no longer benefits them, they begin to treat you like a stranger. There is no need to confront them. There is no need to beg or explain. Their withdrawal is the explanation. Their silence is the answer. And even though it's painful, this is a gift, because it frees you. It shows you who was walking with you and who was just being carried. It helps you stop wasting energy on relationships that were hollow beneath the surface. It gives you clarity, the kind that protects you from future illusions. This truth also teaches you how to love yourself differently. When you stop being useful and people walk away, it's not your failure, it's their revelation. And in their absence, you create space for the sincere to step forward. The ones who don't need you to be useful to love you. The ones who see your worth even when you're struggling. The ones who are still there, even when you're not offering anything but your quiet, tired presence. Testing sincerity is not about manipulating others. It's about observing reality. It's about recognizing who claps when you rise and who stands by when you fall. It's about no longer confusing attachment with love, usefulness with value, or presence with loyalty. When you stop trying to please, fix, or serve constantly, you allow the truth to emerge. You give people the opportunity to reveal whether their heart was with you or just with your help. Sincerity does not demand that you always be strong, available, or giving. It does not vanish when you become fragile or tired. In fact, it shines brightest when you are at your weakest. That is when the sincere stay close. Not for gain, not for attention, but simply because they care. Their presence during your weakest moments speaks volumes more than any words spoken during your strongest ones.